the year before. Now, the fact that you can buy flavoured liquid for e-cigarettes has often been cited as evidence that vaping is designed to appeal to young people. The vape industry says it's all about helping adults to give up smoking. But Marlboro has just announced that it's stopping selling flavoured e-liquids in the US after the news that the American Food and Drug Administration is considering banning them. Well, this summer, a tiny, sleek vaping device that has transformed the e-cigarette market in the US became available here in the UK. JUUL, which looks like a memory stick, has become a phenomenon across America's schools. Well, the company says that it's not being marketed to teenagers, but the cool equipment and flavoured e-liquids are appealing to thousands of young people because there does seem to be evidence of that. A single JUUL pod can contain as much nicotine as 20 cigarettes. Dan Thomson is the MD of JUUL UK, and earlier this morning I asked him, well, who was its product aimed at?
There are 7.5 million adult smokers in the UK. There are over 35 million adult smokers in the United States. That is who our product is designed for, and it's who it was designed by. Our founders, Adam and James, are both former smokers themselves. They wanted to quit their addiction. That's why they designed JUUL.
But in the US, JUUL has transformed young people's attitudes to nicotine. Many people think, teenagers who readily say smoking is gross are actually embracing it. High schools are holding information sessions about vaping, and one school district has even banned memory sticks in an attempt to stop JUULing. So, it is having an effect, isn't it?
There has been some teen usage in the US. That's not something we've sought to encourage. Any usage by someone who is either not a current nicotine user or is underage is unacceptable to us.
You admit it's happening, so what are you doing to stop it happening?
Let me talk to you about the UK, which is the business I run. We operate a double age gating policy when we sell the product online. That means I have to download my ID, create an account on the website, and every single product that goes out also gets age verified on delivery as well. And we operate a challenge 25 policy. If you look under the age of 25, you will get ID'd. And that policy extends to our retail partners as well. We audit that policy rigorously, so every single one of our retail partners gets visited. So we send 18 and 19-year-olds into retailers to see if they get ID'd. And if they do not get ID'd, we have a series of sanctions we can use against retailers, up to and including ceasing supply of the product.
But wouldn't you accept that the sleek capsule and the flavours, that's going to attract a teenage audience?
I'd accept that it's attractive to adult smokers. We are trying to improve the lives of the 7.5 million adult smokers, half of whom will die if they continue their addiction to combustible cigarettes.
That's Dan Thomson. Well, with me in the studio is Dr Phillip Barber, who's a consultant respiratory physician from Manchester University. In London is Simon Manthorpe, CEO of Vapemate. That's a company which sells vaping liquid. Phillip Barber, first of all, why are you so worried about products like the one we've just heard about?
Well, let me just put this in context. That we all support smoking cessation. Stopping smoking is the single best decision anybody could ever make. Now, what works for stopping smoking? And there's grade A evidence that what stops people smoking is personal support linked to treatments which switch off the nicotine receptor. For some patients, that is combined with nicotine replacement.
But there's also a lot of evidence that e-cigs stops people smoking as well, isn't there? And in fairly large numbers.
No, there isn't. No. Back to my point. Nicotine replacement therapy has a part to play in stopping smoking. Vaping by itself, as a voluntary activity, is not particularly effective. And in fact, there's hard evidence that an evidence review presented in recent months showed that in fact 7 meta-analyses carried out, and of those, 1 showed a negative effect on smoking cessation, 2 showed positive, and 4 were inconclusive. So in fact, there is no hard evidence base for the effectiveness of vaping as it's marketed.
Let me bring in Simon Manthorpe. What's your reaction to that? It doesn't actually work as successfully as you're all claiming it does.
Good afternoon, Peter. I think Dr Barber's at risk of being left behind by his peers. I mean, if you look at what Public Health England are saying, the Royal College of Physicians, the Royal College of GPs, the British Medical Association, Cancer Research, the accepted premise is that these products are around 95% safer than cigarettes, and we're not comparing them to not using anything. We're not comparing e-cigarettes to breathing. We're comparing e-cigarettes to tobacco.
But Simon, if you're not marketing to young people, why sell sweet, fruity flavours with names like Pink Lemonade and Beach Party? It's not for my great auntie Nell, is it?
Because the reality is, flavours have been an enormous part of the success of electronic cigarettes. So Martin Dockrell from Public Health England and Hazel Cheeseman from Ash eloquently explained this on Radio 5 about a week and a half ago, that flavours were a huge part of the acceleration and the decline of smoking in the UK. And the reality is, you don't hit the age of 18 and suddenly all of your palate changes and you go off of sweet products. I mean, I would ask both yourself and Dr Barber, what was the last confectionery product you consumed?
Well, I won't ask Dr Barber that. Well, I will ask you, Philip Barber. The NHS says that e-cigarettes are 95% safer than smoking, and that is why they're supportive of it.
We're mixing up apples and oranges here. Obviously, a product which does not have the tars and the hundreds of chemicals which cigarettes contain is not as dangerous as smoking. But the Public Health England needs to look at its own evidence base that there's of marginal benefit in statistical terms when used voluntarily in the way that it's being marketed.
Okay.
Now, if we go to the information on youth, American youth, a quarter of high school American children are using tobacco products, and more than half of those are vaping, and that is highly dangerous, and it's perpetuating nicotine addiction into adult life.
To be fair, but yeah, Simon, final word from you.
I was going to ask where that stat had come from, because I've got some data here that says, this is from 2017, that 8 in every 100 school children in America, 7.6% reported that they smoked cigarettes in the past 30 days. I think, look, we can't lose sight of the fact that these products are providing an enormous benefit to people who smoke and want to stop using tobacco.
I know you'll both want to go on. I have to leave it there. But Dr Phillip Barber and Simon Manthorpe, thank you both very much indeed.